In the end of this video, finally you can draw or doodle as you like. So in the last video, we made it capable of draw multiple shapes, but at this moment, the shapes share the same parameters like fill, stroke, transparency, right? So in this video, we're gonna make them have those individual parameters, then make them controllable. Also add screenshot function. First, we check these 2D array shapes again. Currently, we store the indices of every face landmarks consist of the shapes, right? But how we can store other parameters along with them? I'm gonna show you one way to do that. I changed this inner array to JavaScript object. Okay, for now I set fill and stroke fill like this. And from now on, we're gonna store the indices of the facial landmarks at here. Okay. If you haven't ever worked on this data type, it can store multiple elements just like the array. But in JS object, we can give those property names to the data, so that it allows us to see the data more intuitively. Gives us more sense about what this data is all about. Okay. And when we access the data, we write like this. Shapes0.fill_h. Okay, very readable. It should return, in this case, it should return the random floating number at up to 360. So reload it. Okay. So we changed the structure of the array, means at here we need to change where we plot the data, right? Now we want to add the indices at here. Shapes, the index is 0.indices. So in that case, we write like this. That's it. And now the structure is one level deeper, okay? Next, let's take a look at draw shapes. At here, it says we access specific element in the 2D array shapes, but now we need to add the property name at here again. Okay, and also assign the individual fill values at here. Lastly, let's look at the key type function. Anywhere we access to the indices, we need to do the same. Okay, then look at this here. When we press C on the keyboard, we added a new small array to store the indices of a new shape. Also, when we press D, we initialize the 2D array shapes like this. But now we replace this with object with these property names. Okay, let's reload it. I press E and draw a shape. I press C to complete. Okay, it's working great. Now it's very colorful. So now the fill values are random, so I want to make it controllable by sliders. Okay, now we have the two sliders to adjust the fill and the stroke fill. Okay, so let's take a look. At here, I made 4 variables to store the sliders and to display the values here. Okay, and actually p5.js has functions to create those HTML elements. First, this function is to create div element. Div is kind of blank container to fill it with something, in this case text. For now, I'm using them for to display the slider value in the draw function. Next, this function is to create a slider which requires 4 parameters. The first 2 are the min and max value of the range, and the third one is default value, which is for now random floating number up to 360. 360. And this one, the last one, is for the step size. Okay. And also I set the classes for the value and the slider. Then in the CSS, for now I quickly set the positions like this. At here I set the body color, background color to black, and this one is for the text, and this one is for the sliders, and this one is actually for the slider handle. This one I use it for later. Next, let's connect them to the actual view values. I make a function edit shapes, then assign the slider values to the properties here. I call it when it's in edit mode. Why not? Why it's not changing? That's strange. I changed the stroke saturation value to 100, but that's okay. Here we go. Oh, by the way, turn off the edit shapes for a minute, and I want to change the method to display which shape we are currently editing. Currently, we figure out it by changing the saturation value here. You see that? When it's the current editing shape, then have the fill saturation, right? But soon later, we also gonna make the saturation value controllable by sliders, so that's gonna be a problem. So I want to use the glow effect, this glow effect, instead of the fill saturation. Okay, now it says when it's in the edit mode here, and also we are editing the shape, then turn on the glow effect. And for the other shapes, I set the glow effect transparent here. I set the alpha to 0, and then when it's not in the edit mode, I turn on the glow effect for all the shapes. So let's take a look. When it's a current editing shape, you see that? Okay, there's a glow effect. So when I turn off the edit mode, there's a glow effect on all the shapes. Alright, it looks it's working. But actually there's a big problem. At this moment, if I turn on the edit shapes again, which means I assign the slider values to the few values, and okay, I edit several shapes. Okay, then I press up or down arrow keys to edit the previous shape. But in that case, look at this. I press down. Yeah, this happened. Okay. I press up. The properties are copied on the other shapes, right? Because as long as it's edit mode, it's keep assigning the same slider values to the current shapes. So we need to work on a little bit on this function, edit shapes. So I decided to make a short JS object t parameters, which t means temporal, and assign the slider values. Okay, and in the function edit shapes, if the temporal parameters dot fill few is not equal to the current slider value, then assign the slider value to the t parameters and the shapes fill few here. Shortly speaking, we just add one more layer between the slider values and the shapes value. Okay, and we do the same to the stroke fill. Okay, so reload it. Okay, perfect. And now even I change the shape index, it won't affect to the other shapes. So let's change some parameters. Okay, I change like this and I move the shape index. Yep, it won't affect. That looks perfect. Alright, now let's add more properties here. At the last, I added some arguments. These are the maximum value for the hue, saturation, brightness, and opacity. Okay, let's reload it. Oh, looks nice. Okay. Oh, interesting. There are many greens. Why is it? But looks it's working. Well, I guess it's just a coincidence because in the few color space, the green and blue dominate relatively large area. So no wonder we see many greens even though we use this random function. Before in this video, I'd like to implement the screenshot function. I go to the key type function. Okay, and let's take a screenshot when we press S on the keyboard. And this is a p5 function, save current frame on the canvas. So let's try it once. Okay, I press S on the keyboard. Yep. Yeah, it's supposed to be so. Because you remember, this video graphic we are seeing here is not drawn in a p5 canvas. It's a different HTML object. We made the p5 background transparent, then composited on the video, right? So in that case, what I'm gonna do is I make a variable capture, then create a p5 video object in the setup. Adjust the size to the same as the canvas. Then hide it for now. Lastly, at the very frame we take a screenshot, display the captured video graphic on the p5 canvas. But this code will draw the video graphics over the Facemesh landmarks and the shapes. So I call draw shapes and the grow function again, here. Okay, reload it. Okay, I press S. Okay, it's working perfect. Yeah, awesome. That's it for this video. And next video, part 5, gonna be the final. In the part 5, we'll make it save the shapes data into JSON format and be able to load it. Also, we make those UIs for the undo, delete, yeah, for the functions we've made so far. See you in the next video.